relationships,
yes,
all that stuff. These brothers are losing it. And I'm not trying to diss my own kind, I'm just being real about
no, we need the truth. We're seeking the truth.
I'm just being real about the situation. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
Because he's going to get on with a brother here, and he think America is paradise.
Of course he does. Because
he don't know why he's what. He don't know where he's at. He don't have an understanding.
That, and if you remember when you and I came first met, I told you, he who controls the media controls everything.
Exactly.
And if you control the media, likely you have the most powerful military force known to mankind. And so I can make you think a host of things that you normally wouldn't think or can be perpetuated.
Right, but that's a fact. But
yes,
you and I know, we hear what's going on in the media and everything, but we refuse to accept it because you weigh both sides of the story and see what's reality from fiction.
Yes, of course.
You see what I'm saying?
But that goes along with us saying earlier about being a free thinker. If you are not, and if you're, when I talk to people about the pineal gland being decalcified, most free thinkers, their pineal gland is open. It has already been decalcified. If you continue to have calcium deposits on your pineal gland, you're never going to think freely. You're never going to think freely. And as I've always continued as well, I mean, it could be 100 years before it happened. I may be very gone by then.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to destroy, but to build back up, it's just very, very, it takes a longer time, and I believe that. But I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done, by ourselves, because at this point in time, we're losing it.
Agreed.
Now, like I told you, I have a black brother, blacker than I am,
yes,
walking up to me. I've had, several encounters with some weird people. I see them as weird people, see them as normal. They're not normal to me. How you gonna come preach to me about PPAG, some damn, am I good to say damn?
Of course.
Okay, some stupid ass organization doing free abortions for people. I'm like, what the fuck? Giving some, what they call it, birth control to the youth. And they set these things up to where there are a majority of people,
yes,
the less privileged people. That's where they do these setups.
Of course. Why wouldn't they?
We already having problems.
Of course.
And you put in these setups within neighborhoods when you know we have to produce more to fill up. The Christian's gonna tell you.
Of course.
Fill up the earth crust. But you go to PPAG just to get your womb style, whatever. Somebody told me, we do, what do they call it, vasectomies?
Vasectomies, yes.
Yeah, so you gonna tie my balls? What are you talking about, bro? And these are the things that people do over there. He said, I want you to give me the chance to come talk on the radio. I'm like, nigga.
That's a no-go.
You stay too long with my damn phone, my ear tired. You not walking your ass into this studio right here. We're not doing that.
Well, let's say, in the sense of being a continental African, the ideology behind a vasectomy is far vastly different from those in the West. And I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
Whether people agree with it, maybe you disagree with it or not.
Okay.
Typically in the West, what you have is a lot of men and women who are basically being egregious against children. What do I mean by that? I mean that they continue to procreate with no means to take care of their children. So you bring a life into this world and you don't take care of it. Remember this, human beings are the only animals, and yes, we're part of the Homo sapiens species of mammals that make children and we don't take care of them. We're the only ones that do that. Ticks, mice, fleas, dogs, wolves, birds, flowers, elephants, giraffes, they take care of their babies.
And why
and they don't abandon them like that, unlike us. We do. And so I'm just saying, in terms of birth control, for men, talking about vasectomies, some of them are so egregious they need it. Now that's controversial, but it is what it is.
Well, I'm
not saying here that it could be here. Me personally, I haven't seen it.
People do it here.
But at some point, if you're gonna leave children to fend for themselves, you dead wrong.
But you know, it all comes with how weak the African man has become over the time.
Okay.
You know, how they reason.
Okay.
How they are scared to take responsibilities because they feel that in this kind of comfort zone that will be breached if they bring, you know, new ones into the world. No, I understand that.
Okay.
You don't just procreate everywhere and just leave it like that and not take care of the baby.
Yes.
No, you have to.
Yes.
You have to.
But that happens in the West a lot more than you think.
I know.
So in that instance, keep the perspective.
Yes. But in my culture, in many African, being castrated as a man is a taboo.
Oh.
And now you are willingly taking yourself to be castrated. Is
that taboo part of ATR, meaning African traditional spirituality?
No.
Or is it more cultural?
The status of you being a man.
Okay.
And that's why the Catholics, when they came in, they found it very hard to penetrate cultures like mine. Because you're not making babies. How you going to take care of us, as you were saying? You can't even make babies yourself.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Of course.
And there are still people that believe, I want to go see the Catholic priest. Oh, you don't even have kids. How you going to take care of us? What are you talking about?
Because in terms of what you're saying, is that concept was foreign.
Mm-hmm. It's very
yes. So, I mean, no, it makes sense. I mean,
it's foreign. It's foreign. It has never been. I don't know about all the other cultures, but in my culture, it has never been like in the cultures that I know. Correct. It has never been anything in there like that where men will willingly get castrated just so they can't have no more kids. You know, and back in the day, they saw having kids and having a bigger family. They thought about the economics aspect of having such. Okay. So even in some cultures, a man's wealth will be defined by the number of kids or the number of wives that he had.
True. No, you're right. You're right.
Back then, you can move all the way somewhere in the remote areas just by and your wife. So how far you are able to farm is how big your land will be or your territory will be. Which is different now. It's totally different.
That's different now.
It's changed. I mean, things have changed over the time. I'm not saying they're the same. But then it's a way around it that we can do to make things happen. You just have to put your mind to it.
Of course.
You just have to put your mind to it.
We're going to take a quick shift here. Let's talk about your beliefs in polygamy.
Yeah, you're going to put me on that, huh? Well, I believe that as an African, there's nothing wrong with being polygamous. Okay. As a black person, I wouldn't say African as such. Because African is some other races saying they're Africans too. But as a black person, polygamy is being part of our culture and always be. Whether you like it or not.
Thousands of years.
Yeah, I have a friend in the States, and she had kids with one dude, right? Now this man is with another woman. Okay. Married to that other woman now. Had just a child with that woman. The lady, my friend, has 2 kids by him. He takes care of the kids and everything. Now this dude gonna come in the house, just do what husbands do. You gonna cook for him, do everything for him. I'm like, why don't you marry him? No, I'm not gonna be a second wife. I'm not gonna be that. But that's how she's being already. A side chick. She's doing that already. Oh yeah, it's good to be a side chick, but I won't be a second. What you talking about? Wow. It's interesting you say that. And a friend of mine said the same thing, but go ahead. And this is one thing that people get. I'm not trying to say brothers should cheat and just be everywhere, just shoot and come everywhere, doing all kinds of fuckery stuff. I mean, not everybody can be polygamous, but I mean, I can decide, I can be not polygamous. That don't mean that I'm gonna judge the next brother who want to be polygamous. That's Gotcha. You know, everybody has their own way of doing things. I can decide to do one person. It's just me. But if the next person is doing it, it's cool. Now, we have a problem And people will say, why do black men cheat so much? They don't want to be with one woman. They don't want to stay faithful. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. Now, what we have to understand, and most of these traits that we have as black men, as you see, black men being strong and being athletic and being creative and all that, are traits they got from the ancestors, you know, and they passed it down from generation to generation, and they got to this point. So the one you see that's good at art or IT or smart or can run or can jump, it's a trait that was passed on. Now, mind you, back in the day, his grandparents, his great-great-great-great-grandparents had 20 wives, 8 wives, 10 wives.
Yes.
It's in the DNA too.
I'm not disputing any of that.
Till it get to him. Now, you're in a situation with this brother, and in his mind, and per his religion, or just in his mind, he thinks it's just one man to one woman, which actually the West actually pushed us on Africans, which was never like that, you know.